Welcome, listeners, to Achievement Unlocked. I am your host, and I am here with my co-host,
Mark.
And this is our first episode, first new episode, with us as your hosts. So, just to get you introduced to us, we have a little introduction. My name is Katrina. I've been at PCC for a little over 2 years. I have been in esports for almost as long. And the very first game that I've ever played is Pokemon. Another little interesting blurb about myself is my favorite game genre is MMOs, RPGs, or TCG.
I would say I've been at PCC for about a year, a little over a year, fall of 2022. Been with esports for the past semester, loving it, loving every minute of it. First video game, I would probably, or just first game in general, would have to be Super Mario Brothers. Yes, I am that old. Just so you know, if that doesn't prove anything. My favorite genre would probably have to be first-person shooters or actually like RPGs as well. Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, stuff like that. I love that type of games.
So another question we'll throw out there is, what sort of games do you use more often? Do you do console games? Do you do PC games? Or do you do mobile games?
Mobile games I do a lot on my free time when I'm not around my computer and consoles. But other than that, it's mostly consoles, PS5, for example. But I am getting into PC.
I'd say I'm about the same. The majority that I play are mobile games. I do play a few console games, mostly on the Switch. I am trying to get more into PC games, so I've played a little bit of Genshin and Minecraft.
I always wanted to get into Genshin. It looked really cool. I just didn't know if I would like it if I downloaded it. You know what I mean? So it looked really good when it first came out, and just didn't realize it was going to have that big old hype after that. I was like, oh, wow.
So for the viewers who have listened to this podcast before, you might recognize me. But this is going to be a little bit different from previous episodes, since we are having new hosts for this podcast. We are going to do a little different of a schedule. We'll try to do bi-weekly reaction series. So those of you who were following the Ruby series that we were doing, we'll be picking that back up. And we're also going to do just little discussions like this. So we'll have guests who will come on and we'll introduce you to them when we have them come on here. Otherwise, we're going to try and at least record once a week. I'm not sure exactly how often or how consistent it'll be posted out, but we're going to try and be consistent on breaks We will not be recording during winter break and we may go to a reduced schedule where we will only do recordings bi-weekly during summer break. Holidays, obviously, we need to spend some time with our family as well, so we won't be recording on holidays. So that's what our schedule is going to look like. Do you have anything you want to input?
It's just going to be an exciting time to record. Yeah. We'll get some real fun people to join our cast and have discussions on various things. It'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, so our first topic that we're going to cover today are fandoms. So what is, just just a little overview. What kind of fandoms are you involved in?
I'm just talking about any type of fandom, like games, shows, anything.
Any fandom.
Anything. I do like Call of Duty, I guess would be one of the things I'm into. Dragon Ball is another one I grew up with. There's just so many to choose from. You want me to choose?
I'm just trying to see what fandoms you're involved in so that we can talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, just pretty much Sony. Anything involved with Sony, Activision, like Call of Duty and such. Anime, there's just too much to count. I mean, like I said, Dragon Ball, Sword Art Online. I actually just started getting into Ruby, and then she mentioned it. I started watching it the other day, and I totally forgot that it was a Rooster Teeth show. I used to watch them for Red vs. Blue, which I was a big fan of back then. I just kind of fell off the wagon after a while. I loved it, even though when I watched it, I was like, oh, the graphics were different back then when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, the people who were there for the Ruby recordings will know that I was very, very cringing at some of the mechanics in the first episodes.
But it was still fun to watch. It was still fun to watch, even if it looked like it was from the 90s. It's still fun to watch. I love the characters. I'm really excited to see how the character development goes into it. So I'm actually really excited to watch it further on and then catch up to where you're probably at, and then be able to when we do the reactions, I'll be like, okay, I know what this means now. I know what's going on. I can understand it.
Okay.
What about your fandoms?
The fandoms that I am mostly involved in, a huge one that I'm a part of is Pokemon. I am a big Pokemon nerd.
Well, at least I know if I have questions about Pokemon, I can ask you.
Yeah.
For sure.
I actually am involved in helping judge some of the local tournaments that we do here. So cool. I don't really do competitive playing. I'm more of a for fun player with the Pokemon TCG. So the fandom,
yeah, it can be a little crazy.
Yeah, especially with all this stuff about how Ash is retiring and stuff like that.
Yep, I saw that. I'm still waiting to watch those new episodes, actually, because I didn't get to watch them when they aired in Japan. You can watch them, but Crunchyroll don't cover that, unfortunately, so you can't watch it. So I'm waiting for it so I can finally watch the final episode.
Speaking of Crunchyroll, anime. That's another big fandom that I'm a part of. I'm a huge anime fan. I love anime. I've been watching anime for years now, so don't lump me in with all of those like people who call themselves anime fans but they've only ever really watched one. No, I've lost count of how many anime I have watched.
Right there with you. I'm right there with you. I can't explain how much I have in my list right now, and I can't even fathom how many I still need to catch up on. But every time I look at my list, I'm like, I don't know where to start.
I feel that very much. So what's your favorite part of being in a fandom?
For some of them is a lot of the news updates. Sometimes some fans can catch some information that not a lot of people get right away. Now, do I believe all of it? Not so much, but it's still fun to just read into something that could possibly happen. Like for Dragon Ball, for instance, there's been a whole contemplation of when the anime is going to come back.
So the fan theories.
Yeah, the fan theories, or even some people that have good credibility, and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, this might happen. And then they're like, oh, hey, it might happen because this person predicted this, and it actually did happen. But it's kind of like keeping the dream alive, I guess you would say.
Right.
So I think, it would be stuff like that. Or, I mean, not every fandom is always positive. There's always going to be some toxic people in there. You always find your way around it, and you find those good ones and you stick with them, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'd say one of my favorite parts of being in a fandom is the community aspect. Like, when you are a part of a fandom, you find friends who are in the same fandom as you, and they quickly become like real good friends of yours. So I really enjoyed that aspect, because when you're a part of a fandom, you're never alone.
Yeah, that is true. Like, for example, especially when you have that friend that's part of the same fandom and you can quote something and they'll right away know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have a specific friend, we talk about Team 4 Star that does Dragon Ball Abridged, Hellsing Abridged.
Yeah.
We just do random dumb quotes, and they'll be like, I like that, and they'll just keep on the conversation. It's just it's funny.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes do some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged quotes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know what you're talking about with that. So, you kind of addressed it a little bit earlier, but what's your least favorite part of certain fandoms?
The toxicity, of course. I think that's pretty much it, because I haven't come across anything other than that so far. Yep, I think that's got to be it, because I haven't seen anything else that I'm not really fond of when it comes to certain fandoms I'm in. Yeah, there are misinformation, pretty much. People trying to troll you.
Spoilers.
Yes, surprisingly, I have not been in a fandom yet that has given spoilers. Surprisingly, yet. Knock on wood. So that's what I'm glad I haven't witnessed
yet. I can't tell you how many times it's like manga readers versus anime readers, and then they spoil you, and it's like, I wanted to watch that on my own.
Yep. That's why I try to. I've been watching stuff when it airs in Japan first. That way, I've watched it. No spoilers for me. I'm good. On the same day as the manga, I know what day it comes out for the manga. I go on V Mag or whatever it needs to be on, and I just read the chapter. Done. No spoiler. I'm good. I'm caught up with it.
Yeah. So I already said that one of my least favorite parts of certain fandoms are the spoilers, but I also have an issue with those who are like super judgy about comparing this anime versus this anime, and this anime is so much better, and no anime is better than any other anime. So yeah, some anime you are entitled to your opinions, so you may like this anime more than that anime, but that doesn't make your opinion more valid than another person's. No one's opinions are more valid than other people's.
Agreed.
So I think that I try to avoid interacting with people like that who will act all judgy and stuff like that. But it's kind of hard to know right away who's gonna be like that.
And in my opinion on that too is that if you're gonna make a comparison between animes, it should be something that's at least similar or even within the same franchise. Like if you're gonna compare, okay, let's say the classic one was Dragon Ball and Naruto. Like who could beat who in a fight or this or that.
Yes.
It's like they're two different things. They're two different worlds.
Or like Goku versus Saitama.
Or Superman, stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Just leave it at the fact that they are in two separate worlds that run on two separate power systems. So there is no way to really compare who would beat who, because they've got completely different power systems. They've got completely different powers.
The variations there's too many. It's limitless with the how it varies.
And honestly, you have no clue.
Yeah.
Like Naruto could meet Goku, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go for some ramen?"
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay.
And the entire meeting would just be them trying to out-eat each other.
Now that you brought that up, that actually made a great example was when they had One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Toroko, I think is what, I can't remember the name of it, but basically he was like a chef, and he's like this martial artist. But anyway, they had a tournament together, and the winner would get this massive, like, meat-looking thing, like the most expensive meat or rarest meat, and they all fought each other.
Honestly, that's the only way I could ever see them fighting each other is like, I want that food. No, I want that food.
And it came down to,
I will throw hands to
exactly
get that food first.
I think that was, being that it was an official episode mashup in Japan, seeing Luffy, Goku, and then Toriko, I hope I'm saying his name right, go head to head, and no one won. It was a tie, and they just ate together, all of them all together, which was awesome. And that was like, if they could do something like that,
why
awesome.
We gotta be pitting characters up against each other? Just have them be friends.
Yeah, I guess.
Just be honest with yourself. They would be friends.
I think it's mostly just that competitiveness though too. Like my fandom's better, or my series or my favorite show's better than your show. My MC's better than your MC or something. It's always that type of thing, trying to top other people. That. I think that's probably what it is. Like the apex complex or the ego thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is about I think it's more of like, I take an issue with you, and it's like a pride thing. Yeah. I think it's a pride thing.
Definitely. I would be lying if I didn't say, you know, it wouldn't be fun to see them actually go together. Like if the creators could actually come up with just it doesn't have to be canon. It could just happen.
Yeah, like a spin-off series.
Yeah, even just one episode, like a special episode, half-hour episode, hour episode, just to see something happen and just end it all. It's like end all the conversations. Here you go. This is official. This is how it went.
I'm not sure if you've watched this anime, but there's also a lot of people who compare like Rimuru from I Got Reincarnated as a slime and Anos Voldigold.
I've heard of that. I'm sorry, but Rimuru I think has it. Just he's too.
I think that's another case where you just can't tell because
they're both OP.
Yeah,
they're both OP characters in their own.
They're both so OP that no one else can really compete with them in their universe. So I think that's why the fandoms are trying to pit them against each other, because they're looking for someone who Rimuru would be actually able to have a challenge with.
You know, I think I might have to take back my statement. I think Voldigo might actually have it, because I'm thinking about it now, with his little move where he can just instantly unalive someone and then just bring him back with a drop of blood. I have a feeling that would be Rimuru's demise right there. Just the snap of his finger and boom.
I don't know.
That would be one of the first moves I think he would try to use on him, catch him off guard. Because he literally just stands there and just snaps his fingers. Boom.
Yeah, but it has to do with magic too, and Rimuru does have a lot.
It would be an interesting. Like I would love to see.
I would love to see the creators collaborate to have their MCs do something like that.
I think the only issue with that is that I think publishers or the companies that distribute the animes, I think they're two different ones. So I think that would be the only issue, because that was the only reason why Dragon Ball and One Piece and them were able to do that one episode, because I think they're within Toei Animation, so they were able to do a collaboration with it. Where if they're
and I know that the creator of One Piece and Naruto, they're like buddy.
Yeah, you did mention that the other day. There's little Easter eggs. You said in Naruto, right?
In the manga specifically.
Oh, in the manga. Okay.
In the One Piece manga, the creator of the manga has, like, in the little artworks between the panels, he puts like the characters together, or he'll have like the Uzumaki spiral hidden within the artwork, something like that.
Okay. I can see why they would do that, not in the anime.
Yeah.
Not to throw people off.
Yeah, but it's like something that the creator did for the artwork within the manga.
A little tidbit there.
Yeah. Yeah, fun fact. If you didn't know, the creators of Naruto and One Piece are friends.
I think that's really cool. I know there is a couple other ones. I remember hearing about one particular where the one creator of Sailor Moon was either married or friends with someone else that does an anime series, and they had their own little things too. I can't remember at the top of my head right now, but I always thought that was interesting that they are either together or they're friends, and they put little hints here and there, even in the anime sometimes too, which is kind of cool. Or they only have the same character, they just have like this similar name to that character, just like a homage to it, you know what I mean? Which I thought was pretty cool that they do that.
So we've discussed a little bit about anime fandoms, but what about like game fandoms?
Kingdom Hearts for me for sure. Grew up with that. Can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 4. Hopefully hopefully not in the next 10 years. Hopefully it comes out in the next couple. I love God of War. Love the story. Even if the first 3 were just brutal beat 'em up, you know, whatever game, but the story progressed and got better, in my opinion. I would probably have to say also, I like Final Fantasy, but at the same time, they are all different stories. They're not all continuing. I would love to get a Final Fantasy game where they kind of are, not Dissidia, but like where it does continue on. Because I know the one with Lightning, was it, I think that was 11 or 10, or it was 10 or something. It was one of those, or 11 or something like that. Because they did 2 games with her, with Lightning. And I was like, if they could do something similar with that, it would be kind of cool. To have like similar characters and progress, later on.
Yeah, I'd say the game fandoms that I'm mostly involved in is I am super involved in the Pokemon game fandom. I love the fact that the game protagonists are completely separate from the anime itself, because those mechanics would be like so hard. But the Pokemon game fandom, I love it. I think that the Pokemon game fandom community, that's really long. But I think it's just such a nice place. In general, the people who are a part of that fandom are pretty wholesome. So, like, obviously you have people who do stuff like that are more making fan games that go a little bit on the darker side, but most of the games that people create that they're like the fan games, they're pretty cool. They're just basically, they're creating their own Pokemon, and it's so much fun to play those.
I would actually like to check those out. I never knew there was actually fan-made games. I know there was like customized versions of like Red and Blue, where you do like certain resets or something. It'll give you like a shinies or something. Just something different. Like there was a completely different spin on the original games. I wasn't aware that people actually made their own actual games, which is really cool.
Yeah, one of the fan-made games that I played had you starting out as like a Team Rocket grunt.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that was so much fun. I was like, and it's kind of funny because just like you would as a Team Rocket player, you get to take someone's Pokemon at the end if you beat them.
Instead of taking the money, you just take their Pokemon.
Yeah. So in the original game mechanics, where you're not able to catch someone's Pokemon, as long as you defeat the person in battle, you get to choose from their team one of their Pokemon to take with you. Yeah.
I'll never forget when you tried in the original games. You try to throw a Pokeball at someone's Pokemon. They're like, you can't steal my Pokemon. You're like, I just wasted one just trying to do it. Like,
yeah.
As a kid, that was always funny. It's like, but I want it.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite fan-made games to play, are the ones where you get to take a different path than the normal protagonist plays against the 8 gyms and tries to become a Pokemon master and stuff like that.
I think the one I like, there was one I can't remember what it was, but it was in the future, later on in the games, but I remember they had a thing where you could play against Red and Gary and all them, like from the original Red and Blues.
Oh yeah.
And they made them like really OP, like really difficult, and they had all the legendaries or something, and like they made it to where that was the most difficult battle you would have in that game.
Yeah, there's also a Pokemon fan-made game where you actually do get to play as Ash. It's really fun because you start out with Pikachu and you're in Pallet Town and you're playing through the whole Ash slept through and he gets Pikachu, and then the storm happens and you fight the Spearow. You can actually catch the Spearow though.
That is really cool. I'm gonna have to look that up because actually it's really good. I would love to play that.
Yeah, it's really fun. And there's also the official it isn't an official game, but a fan did make a game based off of the Orange Islands.
Okay, so enlighten me. What are the Orange Islands?
The Orange Islands, have you watched the Pokemon series?
Yes.
So when Ash gets that GS ball from Professor Oak, he goes to take it to this professor who lives in the Orange Islands.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's
during
where,
Gold and Silver, right?
Yeah, it's basically, it's during like Red and Blue.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
It's been so long since I saw that one though, and it's so hard to find those episodes anymore to watch.
yeah, it's the
stream
one
them.
where Brock left the group because he wanted to help out with the professor, and he
Yeah.
had this huge crush on the professor. And at the end, when he rejoined, couldn't say Professor Ivy's name, or else he would go all depressed mode.
Yep. Yeah, because that's where they had I can't remember his name, but I know he had a headband. He wore a green shirt. That was when they got that character, and he wanted to be like I can't remember.
He's a Pokemon watcher.
Watcher. There it goes. Which I always thought was like, that's weird.
And then he became Professor Oak's assistant.
Yep.
His goal was to meet Professor Oak, I believe.
Yeah, because he studied a lot about Pokemon, just like Professor Oak.
Yeah, and he really looked up to Professor Oak because Professor Oak also did stuff like that when he was starting out.
It's kind of cool how they all connect after a while. Like they all flat out connect to everybody, and they stay within that universe, which is kind of cool. They don't just up and disappear.
Yeah, I like how it isn't always shown on screen, but all of Ash's companions are still working towards trying to complete their goals. Even though they're no longer with Ash anymore, they're still trying to work towards it.
Speaking of that, before I know how you spoke about spoilers, so I'm going to ask you a question. Have you seen anything about the last episode with Ash within the Pokemon series?
I saw a little bit about the start of Pokemon Journeys with Ash and Go, but I haven't watched past any of the Riolu episodes.
Okay, I won't say nothing.
Yeah.
Because that has something to do with what you were just talking about, and which was really cool.
Yeah. If it was about them going back to the Alola Islands, I have seen that episode.
No, this was basically like legitly the last episode. It was based off the Journeys series where all the people they met, all the gym leaders, and all the...
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's based off of them, what they met, and they just...
Okay.
That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say nothing for you because you haven't gotten there yet, so I was like... But I've only seen a clip of it. I didn't watch the episode. It got spoiled to me, unfortunately, on TikTok.
Oh, man.
Which is fine, because it was literally just, it was just music. It was kind of like a montage.
I mean,
So.
I'm kind of spoiled because I know that I've been seeing so many different TikToks about, like, Ash getting the Pokemon Masters trophy, and so that's been spoiled for me. But other than that, I haven't had too much spoiled.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that, the winning that part. We'll leave it there for you.
Yeah.
Won't go any further.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I was like, I don't like being spoiled either, so I know how you feel. So we'll just leave it
Yeah.
there till we get to that point, and then we're like, yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay. We're probably going to end this here. We have gone over quite a bit, so this was just like a little short introduction. Normally the episodes will probably be a little bit longer, either 30 minutes to an hour. So this has been the first episode of Achievement Unlocked with your new hosts, me, Katrina, and
Mark.
So thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to talking about more topics and doing more episodes with you.
I'm excited too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, let's send off with a bye.
See ya.